What's up, everybody? It is I, the JUICEman3941, coming back to you with a very early morning gaming roundtable episode brought to you by Unpaid Gamers on YouTube. Um, today, I went on YouTube, and one of the people that I was talking about on my YouTube video yesterday about God Eater 3, the demo, and certain things that were said, decided to one of the YouTubers decided to come back on Twitch and whatever, and YouTube, and posted a video about the people who made comments on his video. And this is Ruicon the Dwarf. Here's a guy that had said a lot of things about the God Eater 3 demo, and then turned around after a bunch of people basically blasted him on Twitch with comments, which he basically stated there was a lot of negative feedback, and he addresses that the disagreement of this feedback is a good thing. It's okay to disagree, which it is. He came back to address all the stuff he said, but to clarify and make the point more clear to what he was actually trying to say in the God Eater 3 demo. He states that one of his subscribers, or one of the people who commented, saying that, this is not indicative of the actual full game. Apparently this user commented this to basically state that you're playing a demo, and this other person that had commented had not. The same person had commented essentially this person has played the actual full game release from Japan, and that some of the things that he is griping about is, again, he's misinformed. This is what I'm going on about with YouTube lately, and this is why this episode 12, is called Addressing the Issues, because this is an ongoing issue, and I feel very strongly about it, especially when it comes to not only games I like, but YouTube and Twitch in general. Now, Ruicon, no disrespect to you. You have a healthy amount of subscribers. I do not. But I will point these things out to you. Your first video about God Eater 3 obviously you were not clear and concise enough to really elaborate. In the original video, you stated that you felt the controls were not good. In your new video, you state that the controls just weren't really intuitive for someone, I guess, starting out in the series. You also state that you've played a lot of games over the years, and that it should be easy for you to pick up and play, but you do kind of clarify what your statement really meant about the controls. God Eater's controls are very simplistic. They're very easy to pick up and play. I had never played the game at all, heard about it, bought God Eater 2 before I bought God Eater Resurrection, and the first two tutorials explain everything. X is attack, that's a light attack. Y is a heavy attack. You hold down, R1 or whatever, and hit your square button, and you put up a shield. You tap R1, and it turns into a gun. You use you just shoot. It's the controls of God Eater, even in the new game, is very, very easy to pick up and play. If a new gamer who's never played the series picks up God Eater 3 and is seriously struggling or fighting the controller, then that person doesn't need to be playing games at all. Your statement, I still feel, is wrong. It is an easy to play game. There's very little involved. It's literally 4 buttons particularly that you're going to be using the most when it comes to combat. It's easy to play. So I don't understand your comment or your second video stating that you feel like that you had to be clarified, that you feel like the controls, you would like them to be different. I understand that, right? And hopefully maybe there's an option for you to remap the controller, or if you're on PC, you could just remap it anyway, if the game is launched for PC. So it's just a moot point. One of the comments on his channel, he said, and exactly what I said, is that he had to address this, which was you know, he wants the game to fail. He actually says that he loves Japanese games and that he doesn't want to see the game fail. He doesn't want to see the game not do well, and he had to reiterate that. I personally feel like that when you play a demo, beta, demo, whatever, especially when that demo was designed specifically to get feedback on combat, it was only designed for combat. You got no story in that demo, as I stated before. The issue is that when you become overtly critical of something like that, if you only have 100 subscribers, and I know Rucon's got a lot more than that, every one of them is going to take you for face value. And those people might, in turn, might have channels, they may not, will go out and tell another 100 people, and so on and so forth. And the next thing you know, you've got a potential of tens of thousands of people not buying that game, which could cause that game to fail. Basing your entire of how you think the game is going to be based on a demo that lasted 3 days, that only allowed you to do so many missions, that didn't even have the full scope of the creative player in there. There's been a lot of fine tuning to the combat now, but to base your entire spiel on the game, so to speak, that you feel like this is what's going to happen with the game, based solely on a combat demo, or based on the demo in particular, and it doesn't matter if it's just combat. What if it did give us some of the story bits? The point is to base your judgment on a game that you do not, you freely admit you do not have the Japanese game or have an account, and you have not played the full game, and to base your entire, this is how God of War 3 is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes out, based on a combat demo, is way out of line. It doesn't matter, and it's funny because people commented on your channel, Ruicon, the dwarf. You felt compelled to make yet another video because there was more negative comments than positive comments about what you were saying, because you really were. You made it seem like in your first video that you were really taking a shit on the game, which is part of these issues that I've been having with the YouTubers out there. And they all feel like it's necessary to, this or that. It's just ridiculous in my personal opinion. You owe it to your subscribers, but you owe it to the gaming community to treat the demo as it was a demo. It's not the full game, and it may not necessarily be indicative, because as one of your comments stated, okay, this person played the full game because they have a Japanese account, they've played it, and literally told you what you played in the demo is not what the actual game is. They've refined it. They have done improvements. And even stated, just like I stated in my previous video, that it was an old build. And they've made these improvements. You also said that some people were telling you essentially that, you just want to make it play just like Monster Hunter, because apparently you love Monster Hunter World. God of War does have the similarities to it, in the sense that you take parts and you craft better weapons and gear out of those parts, just like Monster Hunter. But they're very, very different games in the way they play, the way they look. It's an anime game versus a more realistic approach of Monster Hunter World. And you felt compelled for 2-3 minutes to go on about how, you don't want God of War 3 to be like that, and this and that. See, this is again what I refer to as addressing the issues. Rucon, between you and people who I also subscribe to, who come on YouTube, who come on Twitch, and they make some video and they make some comments based on whatever their expectation is. They feel like, hey, this is how the game is going to be. It's just like Downward Thrust talked about Anthem. He put a video up a few hours ago, I think 10 or 15 hours ago, and it basically was stating how Anthem only has 3 strongholds to do, and it only has, there's the Cataclysm event, which is like the big raid, I guess if you want to call it that, is not going to be available at launch, and you only have your daily thing to do in the game, which you get these contracts from the city. He says it's a contract. He states, or at least he implies in that video, that in Anthem, your daily, you only get one daily. You get one mission for the whole day. I don't know where he gets his research. I don't know if he's contacted BioWare. He actually states in the video a lot that EA this, EA that, but it's like, no, EA just published it. BioWare made the game. They developed it. They made it. It's their baby. And a lot of people just, for some reason, think EA made it. They didn't make it. They only fronted the money for it, and they're publishing it. The thing is that, again, not myself looking at different, I've looked at 100 plus videos of Anthem. I've looked up its Wikipedia page, its Anthem page. I've looked up things about the game, what's available, and of course, Downward Thrust loves to say, hey, this is how the game's going to be, this is how the game is going to run. Anthem is going to have no in-game content. Most people are just going to leave after they level up their character. It's only going to take, they're going to max out their character in like a day or two, and then there's going to be nothing for them to do. They're going to leave the game. The game is going to fail, and then he goes on and on about how the game is. He loved the flying and he loved the combat, but he certainly, is again trying to state that the game will have virtually nothing to do. He even states that the story mission is probably going to be 15 hours, but he states things like he knows this is factual. The story could be 6 hours. The story could be 24 hours. We don't know, okay? Again, you're taking what you have played in a demo and what you know or whatever research you've done and based it entirely on that. Now, granted, he could be right, and there could only be 3 stronghold missions, and you're just supposed to play it at various difficulties to get, like, better loot or whatever. The thing is that this is my issue, why I'm addressing the issue, is that these YouTubers who have tens of thousands of subscribers, are going on here and basically making assumptions, educated guesses, based on whatever research they've looked into, on demos and betas, that this is how it's going to be. I'm waiting for the Division 2 beta. I'm not going to get in on it, because I'm not. But I'm waiting for the videos to come out to basically say that this is, all the negativity around Division 2 is going to come out real soon on the beta. You watch. You mark my words. See, my issue with addressing YouTubers like Ruicon, like Yang Yao, just like one of the things Ruicon said, that he did not like the fact that it was too hard to figure out in God Eater 3, I'm going back to God Eater 3 now, that he basically stated that it was too hard to know whether or not your health had depleted because the bar on top is really small, or at least it's thin. And he says it needs to be bigger because he's an older guy and he can't see as well. Well, so you're blaming the developer for having a health bar that's kind of thin at the top. It's clearly visible, and I'm not a young guy either. I'm like 44 years old. But the point is that you're telling me that you're putting the blame on the developer for not. Oh, well, there's old people who play games out there, so maybe we should have made the health bar like wider so you can see it. Come on, man, really? You're gonna blame the developer for that, and it's like you fault them for that because, oh, we're sorry, you're old, you're older, your eyesight's not really good. You even talk about on your video, you make a little one-off joke how you need to update your prescription. Well, it's not their fault that you have bad eyesight, so why are you faulting the game? This is what I'm addressing, people. This is why this makes me mad. You know, you play a demo, you play a beta, and you think that is exactly how the game is going to be when it comes out. That's exactly how it's how what we're looking at, and that's that. Your word is final. And it's funny how JUICEman made one video and then had to make a counter video to all the stuff that he said in the first video to clarify and clear up the things that he was trying to say, because he didn't do that in the first video. He had more negative comments than positive ones on his first video because he didn't clarify things. I happen to like the game series, but I'm the first person to criticize game series that I like that I feel like could need improvements. I played the Anthem demo, the VIP demo. It was a shit show. We all remember that. I was able to get in Saturday afternoon, and it played for the most part fine. Then the next demo, this last weekend demo, ran beautifully, no problems. Right? Had a lot of fun playing it. Got on board with my buddy Posthuman guy. We had a good time, and that's that. I played the God Eater 3 demo, the combat demo, as it was called. It was fun. I loved the combat. Go back and look at my video on that if you want to know my thoughts on it, because I'm not going to reiterate. I thought it was great. But if you're a YouTuber with 10,000 subscribers, if you're a YouTuber with 100,000 subscribers, or 2 million subscribers, or even 20 subscribers, like was basically what I have, you cannot take a small snippet of a game, play it for 3 days, 11 hours, 12 hours, however long you played it, and then turn around and then put up a video basically stating, well, the game is no good, or I didn't like this, so, you're putting out information about your personal experiences without prefacing it. Hey, this is my opinion. This is my opinion on the game. This may not be indicative of your opinion. JUICEman, if you wanted to say something about how you felt the controls weren't as intuitive as you would like, you should have just said, hey, but maybe you like them. Just for me, they don't work as well. You didn't say that. You didn't say that in your first video. You basically said they were terrible. But then you had to make a second video to clarify, no, what I was really trying to say, okay, come on, man, get your shit straight. If you're going to make a video about a game, get your shit straight. I really have been in a conundrum over this, confused by this, by people who are playing these little bit parts of games and then basically passing judgment on said game based solely on that experience. There was people after the VIP demo, which we all know all the crap that happened with it, right? And I don't condone them. They knew that there were going to be a lot of people trying to log on, but that's already been covered. There was some videos out there on YouTube that people said, well, this is basically how the game's going to be. It's just going to be terrible when it launches. Do you not think they were going to fix it or update it? You're as bad as those people who just shit all over Mass Effect Andromeda, and 2 weeks later they get a patch that fixed pretty much everything. And you wonder why, when you go to the PS4 or Xbox One page for demos, there's very few demos. Because people, if I was a developer or or publisher, I wouldn't put a demo out of my game or a beta. You know why? Because people are just going to just make 100 videos on how terrible it is. Even if that is stated, it's a demo, it's a beta, it's not finished, it's incomplete, we haven't updated everything. Especially since the demo for Anthem, even the second time around, was still, at that point, like a 7-week-old build of the game. But when you make videos and you're telling your subscribers out there, hey, I played this demo, and this and this and this and this, I wouldn't recommend buying it. I don't think it's that good, when the game, and you haven't even played the whole game. All you've played is a few combat scenarios, especially in God Eater 3. There was only like 10 to play. It's just like the video where the guy said, I can't believe that the creative player only has 10 hairstyles, and there's very little, where the other games, well, the developer already said, as I stated before, no, there's going to be a lot more. This is just a demo. Relax. And anymore, this entitlement thing with games, you know, nobody accepts video games anymore for what they are. They just can't. They just can't. And if one game does one thing one way and a totally different game does the exact same thing, one game is great, the other game isn't. It's like when it's the same shit. It's the same thing I put. I mean, way back when I did my thing on Homefront Revolution, which essentially plays so much like Far Cry. If Far Cry was a great game and Homefront did the same basic structure of the gameplay, and you said it was crap. But this whole thing with betas and demos and early access and all this stuff, and you play the game and you make an opinion and you put a video out, but you don't say it's your opinion. You basically state this is how the game's going to be when it launches, even if it's a few weeks from now or months from now. You know, it's just it's an inaccurate thing to make those assumptions based on that. Now, granted, downward thrust might be right, and there might only be 3 strongholds, and it might only be this and this and this, but he has not played the full game. And he can look into 1,000,001 websites and try to find. I actually went on Google today and was like, how many stronghold missions are there going to be in Anthem at launch? And I couldn't even get a concise number. So you're basing everything based on what's been currently released by the developer. And we know that EA and BioWare was very, 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 very not forthcoming about the stuff that was going to be in Anthem because they wanted to surprise people. You know, they wanted to show people, look, we got something really unique here, something different. And even though Anthem is a loot shooter, and yes, I've played 1,001 third-person shooters, I've played Destiny, I've played Borderlands, Anthem is a very unique game in based on the flight mechanics, based on the verticality, based on the things you can do in the game. It's a very different style of shooter. God of War 3 took all the combat problems and different things, and the camera is scaled back now, and different things that I always had kind of a problem with in God of War Resurrection and 2. Camera's way too close. Sometimes monsters get up close and you kind of lose sight of what's going on. The camera's going all over the place. And they fixed that problem. The camera's farther back from your character. You can see the enemies. One of the things that Rukon said specifically was he felt like there was, like when you hit something in the game with your weapon, it didn't feel as impactful as he would like. Sometimes he feels like when you hit them or you miss, there's nothing to tell you that. But the funny thing is, when you play God Eater, every time you hit a monster, there's an effect, a bloom thing. Things you see blood splatter. You see if you hit or miss. Yes, maybe the weapons don't necessarily shake your controller, and go crazy as soon as you hit something. But the point is that that's just, again, that's semantics. Not every game is created equally. It's not like Bandai Namco threw $200 million at God Eater 3. They didn't. This game probably was made with $15 million, to be perfectly frank. It's just, this is why I'm addressing these issues. I cannot stand it anymore. When the YouTubers come out, it's just, and Jim Sterling did it with the whole Anthem release thing, and just like Young Yaz said, and I addressed that already with that YouTuber that I'm subscribed to. You're putting things there that isn't there based on your playtime with either a demo or a beta or 12 hours or 15 hours that you played or whatever, and you're basically making the statement, I played this demo, so there you go, this is exactly how the full launch is going to be, and that's that. It's unbelievable, I would never do that. I would never do that. I played those demos. I like playing demos. So those demos sometimes that I play help me make a better decision whether or not I'm going to play it or not. And it's no big secret, I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza series. It's a fantastic, fantastic game series. And when Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise came out, made by the same company. I really didn't know it was going to play like Yakuza. I really hadn't looked enough into it, but I knew I was going to probably buy it because it's my favorite anime, is Fist of the North Star. And but they had a demo for it, and I downloaded it. I'm like, holy cow! It is basically Yakuza's gameplay, it tried and true, with some different things because, of course, it's based off an anime, and with all this other stuff based off Fist of the North Star. It's literally a merging of my favorite anime and one of my favorite game series. The demo that I got to play, while it was close to the actual build of that game when it came out at launch, there was some differences, some tighter controls, some things that had changed by launch. But you didn't see me go on YouTube and be like, oh my god, this is a problem, and what everybody else is doing. I didn't do that. I praised the game because sometimes you just got to accept games for what they are. You cannot base your entire experience, or you think this is how your experience is going to be. You know what? Let's talk about with Downward Thrust of Anthem and the Strongholds and all this stuff, and he's complaining about how there's going to be no in-game at all. Let's set the Wayback Machine and talk about Destiny 1. You know what Destiny 1 had at launch? It had, the raid wasn't available. It took X weeks to get the Vault of Glass up, a couple weeks, I think. It had 1 raid and 4 strikes. That's it. The other in-game activities was the PvE, player versus environment bounties, and PvP crucible bounties. That was it. The in-game was barely there. I didn't see a whole lot of people complain because Destiny was being treated at that point as a live service game before that became like a word, live service, and it was MMO light, and like anything else, they did what they felt that they could do at the time of launch. Of course, now the game's loaded with content. Destiny 1, 2, and so on and so forth. And no one, and look at Division 1. Division 1 had virtually no in-game at all. You would reach max level. The final big boss you could fight on this raid or whatever was a giant helicopter, and that was about all you had to do outside the Dark Zone, which was kind of unbalanced and broken. They took a long time to fix that. And now Division 1 has a bunch of in-game content that you can do with random like dungeon things in the sewer and all these things that they've done to the game. But no one really, people did kind of complain a little bit about that one. But when the beta of that game came out, no one said much about it. But now, especially nowadays, and in this last year, and in particular starting this year out, people are literally downloading or getting beta access to something or getting a demo of something and just telling their subscribers and telling the community, hey, I played this for 12 hours and I didn't like this, or this is exactly how the game is going to be at launch. No, it's not. Especially when there was already one video going back to Anthem where a person played the actual build in Japan, and you can watch the video. It's on YouTube, and he basically states, this is the demo, what y'all are playing, and what I've played in Japan. It's like, it's not even the same. Like, the gameplay's the same as far as like flying around, all that other stuff, but it's not the same. It has a different economy. It has a different, like, the way the world events play out. He goes on and on about how you cannot base your judgment on this game based on that demo, because he's actually played the actual full game in Japan, because he was in Japan. He was living there, or whatever he was doing visiting, he got to play it. But that's what I'm talking about. Basing your demo or beta experience and your experience, yours, and basically trying to make the statement that this is how the game is going to be at launch, when you haven't even played the full game. That is sad that you're doing that, because you're doing a disservice to your own subscribers. You're doing a disservice to the gaming community. And let's just say, for shits and gigs, that you do play some demo or beta, and the game is exactly that when it comes out. But sometimes that also happens. I'm not going to fault you for that. You made a dice roll random lucky guess that that's how the game was going to be launched, but you truly didn't know that. You didn't. Look at me sitting here after 1 a.m. making this video on addressing these issues with the YouTube community and the Twitch community, these gaming communities. They just continuously make these assumptions about the game demo or beta they played. And I'm only focusing on these two particular games, God Eater 3 and Anthem, because those were the last two kind of, I'd say, major release and middle market release that's coming out this month. Because they didn't make a demo for Far Cry New Dawn, and they didn't do some other stuff that's coming out this month, but these are the two that I keep seeing videos on. I literally load into YouTube and go straight to gaming, and there it is. Anthem, God Eater, Anthem, God Eater. It's like, wow, really? There's been positivity out there on some of these videos. There has been some positive things said, but there's mostly negative things said, especially on the two games like where you already know, and it was stated by BioWare that Anthem's build was old. The developer of God Eater 3 stated it was a combat demo. We were trying to just get feedback. What do people think about it? What do we need to fix? Give us feedback on our website. It's a 3-day demo. It's not indicative of the actual launch. And again, another person who put a YouTube video out because he's got a Japanese account on his PS4 showed a side-by-side comparison of the demo versus what he's playing, and how they've done all these little minute touches to combat that you can actually physically see, how they added more part of it, how they did this, how they did that. Again, that just proves my point. You made a video, and then you had to make another video to counteract your own old video, on God Eater 3 Rubicon, to address those comments, because you did not sit there and state. You stated in your first video on God Eater 3 that you just think the controls were basically terrible. But then you had to make another video because someone commented so you could clarify what you really meant, and what you really meant was you felt like they weren't as intuitive to someone that might be new to the game series. You wish the control scheme or the way that it controls was a little bit different, because maybe you like how other Monster Hunter style games play. And as I pointed out, God Eater 3's controls are very easy pick up and play. If you're having legit problems playing a hack and slash, Monster Hunter style game that plays very fast, very similar to Devil May Cry, especially now with God Eater 3, I'm flabbergasted that you think the controls are terrible. Or they're not intuitive. You literally only use like 4 buttons in combat. Literally. That's it. You literally use a light attack, there's a heavy attack. You hold down a button, hit a button, you put a shield out. You hit the same button for the shield, and instead of hitting square, you hit X and you fly forward to do a shield charge. And then you hold down Y to pull out your God Eater, or you can, while you're holding down the R1 and hitting square, you can hit triangle and do immediate God Eater attack. It's literally so simple. So I don't understand why, when the entire game is centered around literally four buttons, and X if you decide to use the shield charge, which is also a jump button if you're not holding down the R1. It's so simple. But so why do you have a problem with again? I don't get it. And then you base your entire first video, and then you had to make a second video, and just like downward thrust with Anthem and all this stuff, like you're playing a demo And you're telling your basically subscribers, or at least you're implying that these betas and demos are what the game is going to be at launch. In these two games in particular, the developers of both games said, and Anthem, it's a 6-week-old build. And a guy made a YouTube video who lives in Japan or whatever, playing it and saying, guys, the demo is not what actually is how Anthem really is. I mean, like the flying and all that, yes, that's there, but like it's not what you think. And the developer of God Eater 3 said it's a combat demo, it's an old build. We put a demo out there to spread the word, but we wanted to get feedback, and again, it's an old build. So why are you all making videos on YouTube, on Twitch? Why are you making videos based on your 10-hour play, 12-hour play, or one-day play, or if you played all weekend, on demos and betas that are not going to be indicative of how it launched, especially these two particular games, which has been stated by the developer? You know, unless you just buy in the fact that all developers and publishers are run by the Illuminati and they're all evil and they're all out to get us, and that's come on. You have to be. It's okay to play the game. It's okay to put a video up on the demo or the beta or whatever and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling about it. This is my opinion of it. But you cannot. It's a very terrible and bad disservice to tell your subscribers. It's a disservice to tell the gaming community. It's a disservice to the people making the game to basically try to state this is how the game is going to be at launch, but you imply that. You don't actually say that, but you imply that. That's all I'm saying. That is wrong. As I stated in an earlier video, I really feel like that you are trying, or at least in some way, shape, or form, you're trying to get this game to not either A, be as successful as it should be, or B, trying to outright get it to fail. And the funny thing about this, guys, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube community, these same people who are doing this will go out and buy these games at launch, because they know that if they don't, then they're going to not have anything for the channel that week. After they just got done playing betas and demos and saying, hey, this is how the game's going to be at launch, even though on these two particular games, the developer's like, no, and a couple of YouTubers said, no, it's not. These same people are going to go out and buy Anthem and God Eater 3 and make videos, and you watch. These same people will put up videos, and they will sit there and they will go like, oh, they won't ever admit that they were wrong, but what they will say is, yeah, I know I did this video, you know, a couple weeks ago or a month ago on this game, and maybe I jumped the gun a little bit, but like, yeah, you did. That's why I'm addressing the issues. Look at me. I have virtually no subscribers, like what, 20, 21 tops. And I'm just trying to make a point here. You cannot imply that a demo or a beta is exactly going to be that at launch. You just can't. You know, and this is not like a Fallout 76 thing here, right? I didn't get on the beta. And we all know how that game turned out. You know, we all know how that game turned out. Right? People who played the beta. And the funny thing is, I didn't see a whole lot of videos on that beta. There was a few. I watched one or two here and there. There was some stuff on it. But there wasn't a whole lot of, hey, this is probably how, you know, it just was different. But it seems like in the past couple months, this is what I keep seeing on YouTube. This is what I keep seeing. People with large viewership and large subscribers essentially telling people, this is how it is. I know I didn't play the full game yet. I know I haven't bought the full game yet. I know it's not out. I only played 12 hours of this. But you come on. Come on. You know, you're just killing me with that shit. It's just absolutely asinine that you would do that. That you would literally play a game, and especially with God of War 3. And I'm not like I'm not trying to be Anthem God of War fanboy. I'm just pointing out the facts. This is going to happen. This is going to happen with Division 2 beta. You're going to have people who play the beta and get on here and say, "Well, the Division 2 is going to have problems because the beta and yada 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 yada." Like, no. Division 2 comes out in like April or whatever. The beta is like this weekend, and the beta is there designed to stress test the servers and stuff. The game is not done. It's not complete, and I guarantee you when the game comes out, it'll have a day one patch, probably like 20 gigs or something. But you mark my words. After that beta launches and comes out, you're going to see a lot of videos where people are going to imply that, oh, well, Division 2, and it's going to be just like this at launch. It's going to be exactly what we just played, which, the combat probably will be, and some aspects of it probably will be, but it won't be what that was, or what you implying that this is how the launch is going to be. It's just unbelievable. You just shouldn't do that. It's just wrong. It is just wrong to imply that, because, for people on there who says, well, I want to see the game succeed, I want to see this game succeed, I don't want to see it fail, well, then stop shitting on it. Because people are influenced by your vids. They will sit there and hear and listen to what you have to say and go, what, you know what? Downward Thrust there, he says that there's going to be, that people are just going to max out their pilot level, and there's going to be nothing to do, and they'll probably leave the game a week or two after Anthem comes out. And I don't want to, I know he hasn't played the full game. I know he hasn't played the full game, but you know what? I'm not going to buy the game. People do that. People listen to you, and they will spread that word like a virus. It's just like when you hear someone have a bad experience at a restaurant, and that person tells two people, and two people get on Facebook, and next thing you know, there's 100 people, 200 people, now 10,000 people, and next thing you know, that no one's going to that restaurant because of one bad experience. It's different if multiple people have a bad experience, but people listen to you, to your channels. They actually actively go, people listen to Rukon the Dwarf, and they're going to be like, I'm not going to buy that game. It's just the way it is. It's one thing if a developer really does put out a bad product, but it's another. Look at the shit show for Mass Effect Andromeda. Everybody complained and pissed and moaned because people's eyes in the game weren't glossy, and the animations were a little wonky. When you ran and kind of moved back and forth, your legs looked kind of funky. Everyone focused so much on that, and some of the other bugs and stuff in the game, but mainly those two things. And it became this big meme and internet joke. And you know what happened? Even though the combat was solid in that game, the graphics looked really good all the way around. They updated the animation engine a couple weeks later. All that got fixed. The faces looked better. And the exploration was really good in that game, and it was, if you have played it, you know what I'm talking about. They put the Mako kind of vehicle back in there. It controlled very tight. The combat was tight. Even the multiplayer was fun. And you know what? Because all these YouTubers and all these Twitch gamers who were really, in my opinion, just butthurt because they couldn't use their Shepherd, Shepherd's story was over. Now we got a new guy or girl. The point is that there was so much of that going around at the time that it influenced YouTubers and Twitch people and all, and it got out on Facebook and the memes and all the stuff and all these YouTubers, and you think you don't influence your subscribers and the gaming community as a whole, you're wrong. You know why? Because that game financially failed based solely on that, and also the DLC that was planned for the game canceled. And Mass Effect is now, thanks to your influences, because you made some memes about who cares if the faces didn't look the best, who cares if the animation was a little wonky. The rest of the game was fine. It was actually really good. Great music, great soundtrack, good voice acting, right? It had all the stuff that made Mass Effect, to me, Mass Effect. And you know what? That game's now shelved. There is no plans to make another Mass Effect. None. They're not even going to touch it. It could be a long time, a number of years before they touch that series again. Thank you all for making that game get put on the shelf based on 2 issues. 2. Wonky animation and the faces didn't look right. That's just what I'm trying to prove my point. And that game was the full release. I don't think they even had a demo for that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm addressing. You do have a influence over the people who are going to buy these games. And if Anthem fails because of you people who put on YouTube your videos based on a demo, if it fails, remember, there are people who will be let go from that company and laid off from that company. We will get no content added to that game. We will get nothing. We won't get a sequel. We won't get DLC. We'll get nothing. The updates will just stop. It will just stop. Just like they did with Evolve. Servers are gone. You can only play solo because people just took this game and ripped it apart for whatever reason. It's the same thing. You do have a direct influence. People watch your shows. Remember that. People are influenced by you. Some of you all, that's what you do for a living. PewDiePie has like 3 million subscribers. Ninja's got all these. If Ninja came out tomorrow and said, I'm done with Fortnite. Fortnite is just, I'm just tired of it. Their updates don't do much to the game. It's the same, it's this and this, and just said a bunch of negative stuff about the game. And he just said, and he stopped playing. What do you think would happen? Yeah, all the people subscribed to him would stop playing. People would not buy it. The people who are new would quit playing it. And that's all I'm trying to say. When you take a demo, especially a demo or a beta, that you're only getting a snippet of the game. Even people on Anthem was saying, well, the world's kind of all the same. It's kind of, bland. There ain't a whole lot that... You only got a little bitty tiny corner of the map to explore, to fly around in. You don't even get the whole map. And again, basing your experience off a beta or demo and basically implying that this is the full game, it's going to be exactly like this. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. I implore you to stop. If Anthem fails, people will lose their jobs. We will not get DLC. We will not get any more content. They'll update it a few times and then that's it. That's it. That's it. Just like I stated with Agents of Mayhem. It's abandonware at that point. Congratulations. You succeeded in your task of having that happen. If God Eater fails, even though that's a niche title, it's a middle market title, we'll not see a God Eater 4. Not in the West. It'll sell big overseas in the Asian market, but it will not sell here. They will not bring it here. They just won't. This has been episode 12 of the Gaming Roundtable. Give me your thoughts, your opinions, and comments below. Please subscribe to Unpaid Gamers on YouTube. I know I was a little winded, but I'm very passionate about this particular subject of late because it's really just got my boxers in a bunch. I really just don't understand why this is becoming a trend. Anyway, thanks for joining the Gaming Roundtable. I'll see you on the next episode, and as always, gamers, good gaming.